All right. Let's talk about measuring angles, but we need to review some vocabulary. Let's make sure we've got or we're grounded in the relevant vocabulary. I'm looking for a marker that you guys can see very well. Okay, let's start with this one. We know that complementary angles have a sum of how much, folks?
90.
Everybody, 90 degrees. Not just 90, 90 and that little degree symbol. We know supplementary angles have a measure of what?
180 degrees.
180 degrees. Okay? The type of supplementary angles that we're going to talk about today are adjacent. Now, in your last video, I gave you a definition of what an adjacent angle is. Anybody remember?
They're side by side.
They're side by side. They are side by side. They share a vertex and a ray. Okay? We know adjacent angles, if they're supplementary, they measure to what? Or they have a sum of what?
180
Bingo. 180 what?
degrees.
Degrees. As long as you can remember the relevant vocabulary, filling in this stuff will be pretty easy. There's one other term that I neglected to mention. Vertical angles. If you watched the last video, I told you two specific details about vertical angles. How do we identify vertical angles? They sit across from each other. What do we know about their value?
They're equal.
Yeah, they're equal. Equal value. Okay, let's look at our image. We've got some angles to identify. They want to know the measure of them. We're going to use our clues and our details about classifying angles to fill in values for the variables. Okay? Start with what you know. We know that this is right here at 138. What do you call this A that sits across from it? What kind of angle is it? What kind of angle is it? Look at your definitions. Somebody said it.
Vertical.
It's vertical. It sits across from each other. So what does A measure?
Vertical.
What does it measure though?
138.
138. It's exactly what's sitting across from each other. What do we know about vertical angles? Equal value. So if 138 is on this side and that A is sitting across from it, what does A have to be? 138 degrees. Okay, if I know A, I should know B. A and B are side by side. I know side by side angles measure to what? 180. How much of the angle do I already have? 138. So how do I find B? I do 180 subtract what? 138. Well, what does B equal? It should be 42 degrees. Well, I can check that. What kind of angles are these? Side by side. What should they add to? 180. If I add them, don't I get 180?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Okay. Let's look over here. Let's look over here. And I'm not skipping around these. I'm just going to what I would call the easier ones to identify and measure. If I have 161 here, what kind of angle are these two?
Vertical.
Say it.
Vertical.
What do we know about vertical angles?
They fit the vibe.
Equal measure. So if 161 degrees sits across from it, what does F have to be?
160.
It has to be. Okay? Has to be 161. Well, what do we know about these kind of angles? What do we know about these two?
They're
Side by side, so they got to measure to what?
180.
How much of it do I already have?
160.
So how do I find G? 180 subtract,
160.
and it should give me 19 degrees. Right?
Yes.
Is it making sense?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let's lose what we got to get what we want. I need to know what H is. What do I know about these two angles?
Vertical.
these two.
horizontal.
These two. You can only call them vertical or adjacent, which we identify side by side. Those are the two you pick from. They're either going to be vertical or side by side. These two angles right here.
Adjacent.
Say it.
Adjacent.
So we know they have to equal what? Say it.
100.
How much of it do you already have?
116.
How do I find H?
180 minus 116.
And I should get 64 degrees. Okay? And I'm going to erase this because I don't want all this math to confuse you. It's recorded so you'll be able to see it from the beginning anyway. Okay? What other variables are left? C, D, and E. Okay? Do we know what E is? Well, we can use what we have to figure out what E is. Look, E and G are what kind of angles?
Vertical.
They're vertical. So do we know what E is?
Yes.
What do we know about vertical angles?
Equal.
Equal value. So if G is 19, what does E have to be? It has to be 19 degrees. Look at D. What do we know about D and H?
Side by side.
So they have to equal what?
64.
180. 180. How much of it do you already have?
64.
How do I find D?
Subtract.
180 subtract 64. And it gives me what? 116. Do I know C? No, Mr. Gray, I don't know C. But look at C and B. What kind of angles are they? Somebody said side by side, somebody say vertical. C and B, do it look like they sit across from each other or they're side by side? They sit across from each other. So what do we know about vertical angles that sit across from each other? Equal value. So if B is 42 degrees, what does C have to be?
42 degrees.
If you're not sure if you're right about this inside triangle, I asked you at the beginning of this lesson, what do the interior angles of a triangle have to add to? 180. Add those three angles, 116, 42, and 19. 6 plus 2, 8 plus 9 is 17, 2, 6, 7. Something's not right. Because those interior angles are supposed to add to what?
180.
180. So let's just check our math. Let's go back and check our math. Looks good to me, though. It looks good to me. Do y'all see anything wrong? I don't. Looks good to me. These two. I guess it's just a flaw. Because they're all right. Everything looks good to me. Side by side angles add to what? 180. Vertical angles are what? Equal, right? If we go all the way around, we should have sums of 180 when we add these adjacent angles. I get 180 here, 180 here, 180 here, 180 here, 180 here, 180 here, 180 there. Guess there's an exception to the rule because I don't see anything wrong with the math. I have degree measures by every one of my variables. Can I fill in my blanks now? Do I know the measure of A? What is it?
138.
A? Well, yeah, 138. I'm sorry, y'all can see better than me. 138 what?
Degrees.
Degrees. What about B? Angle B?
42 degrees.
Thank you. What's C?
42 degrees.
D?
116 degrees.
E?
19.
Where we at? E? 19. F?
161 degrees.
G?
19 degrees.
And H.
64 degrees.
And that's how you do that. Down here takes a little more precision. I need you to pay attention that we're looking at 4 complementary angles. If I look at AOG, that's a 90-degree angle. Do you agree? AOG. Do you see that 90 degree?
Mm-hmm.
All right. If I do GOE, do you see that 90 degree?
Yes.
Do you see EOC? You see that 90 degree angle? And do you see AOC? So you see 4 90-degree angles. So I got 4 90-degree angles that have been cut They've been cut. Okay, there's a ray slicing them. Let's start in AOG. Okay, so that would be here. Okay, do you see two different angles in AOG?
Yes.
You should see HOG and AOH. Angle HOG, which is right here, measures 59 degrees. We know that the whole angle measures 90. So how do I find this little piece right there? Say it.
Subtract.
What am I subtracting?
90.
90, because there's a complementary angle, minus what?
59.
59 degrees. And A should equal 31 degrees. Very good. Okay, question, babe?
The numbers are off. He changed.
Yeah, I changed them. Yeah, no, I changed. I didn't want to do it exactly like it because I'd be doing the problem for you, but I changed it. Okay. But the process is the same. Oh, y'all didn't write those answers down, did you?
Shame on you.
Okay. All right, eyes on me. Angle GOE is the right angle we're in now. You can also say EOG. Angle EOG is split into two angles. You got this big one. Forgive me, oh my, I'm sorry. You got this big one right here, and then you got this little one. And then you got this one right here. This 90-degree angle has been cut into two different angles. We already have 23 of it, which is right here. How much is this one right here? 90 what?
Degrees.
Minus
23.
23 degrees. So B equals 57 degrees. 67. Excuse me. Now I'm at angle EOC. Well, angle EOD is 70 degrees. So what does this little piece have to be?
90.
90 minus 70. So this one has to be 20 degrees. In this right angle right here, we already have 50 degrees of it. So this one has to be what? 90, 50, or 40 degrees. Now let's fill in these blanks. Find angle AOB. What does angle AOB measure?
40 degrees.
40 degrees. Find angle COD. COD, this little one. What does it measure? 20 degrees. Find angle EOF. What does it measure?
23.
Look at it.
Wait, 67.
67 degrees. That's the math, the show work you see. And then angle AOH. AOH. 31 degrees. All right. If you have any questions, just consult this video. I'll play with this problem again to see why the interior angles didn't add to 180. If you catch my mistake, please submit feedback. We're all human and subject to imperfection, so it could be some flaws, but for the most part, it looks fine to me. All right.